You know what that sound means? It's another episode of Game for a Movie. It is episode 35. I am your host, Mike B. Tank. I am joined by
Mitchell. Is that who you're pointing to?
Yeah,
okay,
right.
cool.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mitchell? Question mark?
This is literally why I told you the order ahead of time.
We're literally on Zoom, and you pointed directly at your
At
camera.
the camera.
So
Dude,
Yes, Mitchell
that
was
was
on
the
screen.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we've got Mitchell, Frodo, Sam, Andre, Sleepy, Dopey, Doc, and Mike.
just mixed
Who are
dwarves
you?
and hobbits.
Who are you in this mix?
I'm either a Frodo or a Sam. It depends on how I'm
Okay.
feeling.
Okay, well, this is off to a glorious start. Let's just talk about what we're drinking because I don't even know where to go after that. Hey, Mitchell, what
Yeah.
are you drinking?
I am drinking some homemade cold brew,
Nice.
and it is very delicious and very energizing.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Jill, what do you got over there?
I have an Earl Grey tea, and I cannot tell you who the company is because I don't have the tea bag in front of my face. But it's called Lord Grey, so it might be. No, that's a beer. It's an Earl Grey tea because I love Earl Grey.
Are we doing phrasing? Tea bag in front of your face? Like, can we
That
do
was,
phrasing there?
Yes, we can do phrasing. I don't think
Okay.
we'll get sued.
That is amazing.
That's great.
Tea back in front of my face. Nice.
Andre, what are you drinking back there?
So, I got myself a tall boy of the Fat Orange Cats Baby Kittens double
Oh,
IPA.
you're drinking the last of them.
Yeah, you know,
Baby
I was
kittens.
saving it for a special occasion.
What
Nice.
kind
So
of
my
IPA?
tea is
It's a
Lord
double
Bergamot.
IPA. Double IPA.
By the way, my tea is actually not called Lord Grey. It's Lord Bergamot by Smith Tea Maker.
Wait,
Oh, there you go.
wait. Addendum. I'm reading the tall boy now. It is a hazy New England style IPA.
Ooh.
I was just gonna say,
Why?
Baby Kittens is not the double.
No, it is
You
not.
lied
No,
to
but it's
us.
impressive that I like Baby Kittens because it isn't a double, but I really like Baby Kittens.
Mm.
That's the thing about hazies. They're a little fruity, you know. You never know what you might
Yeah,
like about
I
it.
don't need to taste the hops. I'm okay
Oh,
with that.
If
I
I
don't
could
like
bite
hops.
into a hop, I would. That's
yeah.
what I like about my IPAs.
Mhm.
Same here.
But I am not drinking a beer over here. I have developed a cocktail last night, and I'm sure somebody has created it at some point in history, but I just decided last night on a drunken binge to create this. 2 shots of Uncle Nearest, got a little bit of lemonade, and then
Okay.
a splash or 2 of grenadine over the top. So I am calling it a cherry Lynchburg lemonade.
Ooh.
Wow.
Cherry what now?
Lynchburg lemonade.
Lynchburg lemonade.
Would love to
Cherry
try some of that.
Lynchburg.
and-
It is fantastic. Like, it doesn't taste like anything, even though there's 2 shots of alcohol in this bitch.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm so excited that you started on your mixology journey.
Yes, I love it. It's been fun.
Yeah, Andre
Um,
made a flannel shirt and a paper plane for me last week, and both of those were deliciously deadly.
Okay, we're still talking about cocktails, or is it, did he just sew a flannel shirt together?
Flannel shirt. It's like it's a bourbon and apple cider drink. It tastes like fall in a cup. It's really good.
Okay, nice.
Wow.
I learned about a campfire or bonfire, like a burning bonfire or something like that, and I'm intrigued to try this.
Mm.
It's cinnamon sticks. You burn it, put the glass over the top, and then you make the cocktail, and then it kind of like has that taste.
It infuses the cinnamon.
It's bourbon. It's a rum floater. Eventually, there's
Whoa.
Sunny D in it, of all things,
Ew.
and then the cinnamon
is not
sticks
what
go
I
over the
expected.
top of it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm in on the Sunny D part.
Right.
I know
yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds weird, but I'm
Hmm.
gonna give it a shot. We
like not
will
fresh
have
orange
this
juice,
together.
just Sunny D.
Sunny D, yes, Sunny D. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Fi-
we'll try
Final thing on the cocktails. I was watching a Scary Game Squad on YouTube, and they were talking about this drink. They called it a Starry Night, and it was Goldschlager and Jaeger
it.
because the gold would
Oh,
look
okay.
like stars. I'm
Okay.
like, that sounds
Oh my
so
God.
nasty.
Yeah, that one sounds awful.
That sounds so horrible.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Well, we have become a cocktail podcast, but really we have some
I love
movies
it.
to talk about. Mitchell, you're going to kick us off with probably the most recent movie. I'm just trying to think. No,
Well-
Jill actually does, technically speaking.
Technically.
Technically,
Yeah.
not technicality. We got the hits, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
we
we've
do
got the
talking
hits of
about-
the last
Today.
couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, guys, I would have been talking about Space Jam: A New Legacy, but I am only halfway through it. I had to stop.
Wow.
Did you
I
rage
had
quit,
to
or did you
stop.
have to
Stop.
like take a break?
No, I had other things to do.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
Clearly,
just-
watching this movie was not a
No,
priority.
it was
Oof.
something I was watching as I was cleaning the apartment, and then I had to go. So that's
Fair.
that's basically what it was.
Mm.
However, I did see the movie that was #1 at the box office last week, and that is Black Widow.
And
So-
#1 at the box office this week. Let's just call it what it is now.
What? No,
What?
Space
No,
Jam
no,
dethroned
Space
it.
Jam beat it.
Space
Yes.
Jam beat it already?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Space Jam beat
I-
it.
Oh, that is
I
a
think
Dude,
it's-
monstrosity.
LeBron literally just tweeted out to all of his haters that Space Jam is top of the box office this weekend. Yeah,
Yeah, but
man.
I think it's only going to be top of the box office this one weekend.
sure. But
I think that's honestly going to be the trend for movies for the rest of the year. Probably it's going to be a week by week thing. I'm not sure if we're going to see movies that dominate for a month like we have in the past, just because I could stream this. You know, we could.
Yeah.
You could stream Black Widow on Disney Plus. You could stream Space Jam on HBO Max.
Well, that's why I
So-
was kind of surprised that Space Jam beat it, was because I figured people were streaming that versus
I agree.
going to the theater.
Now, granted, it was only 32 million for Space
Mhm.
Jam, and Black Widow had a historic drop off after week 1.
Really?
However, yeah, like over 80% cut. But let's get into the movie. I love the
Yes.
logistics of it all. I love the box office numbers, but beyond the figures that it earned globally and on Disney Plus, I'll say this: I thought this thing was pretty successful. And I'm not going to say that it is a top tier Marvel movie, but damn, it felt so good to watch an MCU flick back in a movie theater
Mm.
like Kevin Feige intended. So
man.
this, I know it was so fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I love Loki, WandaVision, and Falcon Winter Soldier. They're fun. Marvel is still definitely finding its footing with telling, episodic television stories.
Mhm.
They know exactly what they're doing when you're watching something on the big screen. So
Hmm.
this is a long overdue solo flick for Scarlett Johansson as the character Natasha Romanoff as Black Widow. And this is set right after Captain America Civil War, for those who were interested to see where this fell in the timeline, because spoilers, she's already dead in the main timeline for
What?
the MCU. I know. I'm sorry, Mike.
Died? Oh,
It's a 2-year-old spoiler at this point. But she is alive and kicking a lot of ass. The first half of the movie is basically looking at the relationship that she has with her family. That includes David Harbour and Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz. They did not go cheap when it came to rounding out this cast. And they have what I thought were some of the more, I don't know, I thought a well-balanced, and let me just say this, I'm only talking about the first half when I'm blowing up this movie for how good it is. They have a
Mhm.
good mixture of great action chase sequences, and they have a great mixture of family dynamics. And that, when Marvel is able to capture both of those things in the same movie, that's when they soar. Then you have the second half where Mitchell's eyes glaze over
oh no.
when everything goes boom really quick. And it's one of the things, it's something that I hold against almost every Marvel movie, where the stakes are so big with the action. It's one, kind of hard to follow, and two, it's just so boring, because when everything's blowing up, nothing feels necessarily important anymore.
Right.
And it kind of looked cheap. That's my biggest gripe against Black Panther 2, which is my
Wait,
favorite.
it looked cheap.
It looked cheap, the same way that the third act action sequences in Black Panther look cheap.
Ooh,
Wow,
that's
ooh.
and
That
I
was
agree
a-
with
that was
you
a
on
PS2
that.
cutscene
Right.
for a little bit there.
No,
Yeah,
Mitchell, can you clarify when is it just the over the top bombastic explosions, or is it actually when the camera is focused in on a hand-to-hand fight scene?
no, so the hand-to-hand is fine. Now, granted, they do the MCU thing where they just hypercut everything, but
Oh yeah.
course.
that's a style choice at this point, which
Yeah.
I think works in certain cases. And like I said, the first half, I thought the fight sequences were great. There was a lot of cutting. However, I felt the impact when Florence Pugh was punching Scarlett Johansson. I could feel that, like all of those different things. The chase sequences I thought were so well choreographed. The opening of the movie might be the best part, where
Hmm.
it starts. This is not a spoiler at all, but it starts in Natasha Romanoff's childhood and where she grew up, and basically the big moment that sparked this trajectory of her life when she would go and become Black Widow.
Do we finally get to see what she saw in Age of Ultron all those years ago?
Not really.
Okay.
This scene takes place before all of that.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you necessarily need to see it. The idea is, again, not spoiling anything here, but Her sister is played by Florence Pugh, and she goes through the same thing. However, Scarlett Johansson gets out, Florence stays in, and there's a lot of resentment there. So I think they do a fairly good job within the first 10 minutes of setting the table in that way. Like, hey, here are the emotional dynamics between her and her father, her and her sister, her and her mother, and off we're running. So up until the end, again, with all the action sequences, I thought this was a worthy solo story. It was almost kind of like a throwback to phase 1 Marvel movies where there wasn't, it wasn't burdened with the idea of we have to push the overall MCU narrative forward. We're just telling this Black Widow story. And that was kind of refreshing. Now, granted, I wish this came out 5 years ago, after Civil War came out.
Right.
At the that scene in Endgame, that ham-fisted girl power moment at the final battle.
Yep. I need no man.
What Marvel was going for there, they actually accomplished in this movie in a legitimate way. Where
it's not clunky.
It's not clunky at all because you're letting the characters lead the way. This is a natural story between two sisters in many different ways. This is a female-directed movie, and Kate Shortland, the showrunner for WandaVision, I'm blanking on her name, Jack Schaefer, I believe it is. She was a story by credit in this film as well. So there was a lot of female storytelling in this that was very legitimate, as Jill's friend
Jack
is
Schaefer.
joining us on the Zoom. What was that?
That was
Oh my
Sophie.
goodness. Oh, Sophie. Oh, we should have been talking about, I don't know, like Godzilla versus Kong right there. Like,
I know, that
actually
was
took over the
Sophie's
screen.
Hopped on across over the computer.
She's a big MCU fan. So
So
it is
anyway-
Jack Schaefer, by the way.
Jack Schaefer, yes.
Yes.
So anyway, I have nothing to say but really good things about it. It's outside of my top 10 for MCU movies because we have done MCU talk before in that regard. But it's definitely better than something like Captain Marvel, or I would say better than Doctor Strange.
That's interesting because as soon as you said it was like a throwback to phase 1, I immediately thought Captain Marvel. It's like that's kind of what I thought when I was watching it. So
keep in
is
mind,
next up better than that in your head?
Oh,
do you remember, Andre, that when we did our epic Marvel rewatch, you and I both walked out of Captain Marvel saying it was much better than we first gave it.
I did like it better on a rewatch for sure.
Gave it a first pass.
That's still a good sign though. That like I'm still kind of I haven't seen Black Widow yet, so
yeah. I think the question. Oh, sorry, Mitchell, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, as much as I could highly recommend it when it comes to the MCU, look, at the end of the day, it's mid-tier. And that is just a testament for how good the MCU has done over the past 10 years.
Right.
My big question that I have for you, Mitchell, is it too little too late for this film where it's like, it's really great to see it, but what does it add? Or it's like, no, it doesn't matter that maybe it's 5 years too late. We're happy to have this included in the Marvel MCU canon.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, they would have made this movie 5 years ago. And I think that's when we could honestly have this storytelling capture the moment in the best way possible. At the end of the day, this is still a very enjoyable movie and almost like a throwback to a James Bond flick where it's a part of a greater story. But at the end of the day, it's about that film's mission and that film's characters. And then we get to move on to something else. So, and I'm not saying that Marvel should do this all the time. I mean, Shang-Chi's coming out. I doubt it's going to deal with anything that's multiverse heavy. From what I've heard, it's going to take place during the blip. So it looks like, at least for right now, Marvel is just trying to tell character-driven movies, unless we're talking about these big events that the Disney Plus series is setting up.
Well, and I think that's also because of the relaunch of the characters. Since we do lose some of the faces and everything like that, they want to branch out to different characters, of course, because
we have to reset the table again, basically.
Exactly. We have to, and this gets us for 4 more movies.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll say this before I give my rating. The lasting legacy of this film is going to be twofold. One, David Harbour is just so funny, and I just love watching him be like anything he wants to be on screen. He has this great balance except for Hellboy, but that's a tough one. For this Red Guardian role that he plays, it is just so much fun to see a guy sink his teeth into a role where he knows he's a comic book character. He knows he's supposed to be over the top and have this kind of fantastical point of view that he is the Russian Captain America, and then at the same time have an emotional conversation with the person who I thought was the best part of this movie, and that is Florence Pugh.
That's what I'm hearing a lot of.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
So
She steals the show.
She is fantastic. I've been a fan of hers. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but her performance is fantastic in Midsommar. She was fantastic in Little Women. I believe she earned an Oscar nomination for that role as well. And here she is in a Marvel movie, kicking ass alongside Scarlett Johansson. So she plays Yelena Belova, who is the sister of Natasha, and she is a Black Widow as well. She has all the same skill sets, just a little bit younger, and has a different experience of going through the Red Room than Natasha did. One very key difference, which is basically the big plot point in the movie. I won't give that away. However, this movie definitely has a box to check in terms of introducing her into the MCU, making audiences care about her because she's going to be in the Hawkeye series. That's already been confirmed. And I would not doubt that she's going to continue to be in more Marvel projects beyond that. And she is so much fun to watch.
Nice. I was going to ask you that. I held back because I was thinking, do we want to spoil it that much just in case you haven't seen it? But I mean, it feels obvious at this point that she's going to be involved. Yeah. And especially you bringing up the Hawkeye, of course, but it feels even further stretching than that too.
Yeah, Marvel did such a good job in just getting talent, especially phase 3 and on. I mean, getting Benedict Cumberbatch to be Doctor Strange, they're going after A-list people to be these heroes. And Florence Pugh is definitely one of them. She may not be A-list yet, but she's definitely on the way.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting talking about that is for a press tour for what they're doing with Loki, there's been a lot of Tom Hiddleston interviews, and there was a good one. I think he did it for Variety. Sorry, I'm trying to put my phone back in with my feet. Yeah. He did it, I think it was for Variety, where he did, instead of, him looking at his career, he was just looking at his journey from the beginning of Loki to the show Loki, and talking about how Marvel really was at the time, still is, as we can see, taking chances on relatively no-name actors and giving them this incredible key to a massive kingdom. And look at them now. Who knew who Chris Hemsworth was before Thor came out?
Oh, Captain Kirk's dad.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Besides that one time.
Yep.
He was Captain Kirk's dad. 5 minutes, and then he blows up. And then Tom Hiddleston, if you were if you were not a BBC fan, you probably didn't recognize him. And now, some of the biggest stars in the world. And I love Florence Pugh. Pugh. She's a fantastic actress. I loved her in Little Women. She definitely deserved her nomination because her character in the book is probably one of the more whiny ones. Yeah. So to make that character actually likable is an impressive feat.
Yeah. So Marvel keeps racking up the W's, and I'll say this again, mid-tier. And you guys know how I rate things, so don't take this as a slight at all for people who really enjoyed this movie. But I'm going to give Black Widow a very solid 2.5 Taskmasters, and I didn't even talk about Taskmasters.
I was about to say,
we didn't even hear anything about the villain.
Taskmasters is more of not a punching bag, but just like a fighting thing. I wouldn't even call Taskmaster a character, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
That's definitely one of the weaker points of the film as well.
That's a bummer for me, but
yeah, but 2.5.
Okay.
All right, Jill, that brings us to you, and you have a couple movies to tell us about.
Yeah, so I didn't intend to talk about a trilogy, but it just kind of worked out that way. If you are a Netflix subscriber or have a screen that's connected to the internet, you probably have seen advertisements for the new Fear Street trilogy. They came out over the last 3 weeks. So part 1 is Fear Street 1994. The second part is Fear Street 1978. And then the most recent and final entry in the trilogy is Fear Street 1666.
I just watched part 1 yesterday, actually.
Cool. Nice. They're based off of the Fear Street horror teen horror series by R.L. Stine. Massive, giant series. I remember when I was really young, my sister we would go to the library. She would be busy in the teen section, and I would just look at the covers of these books. I never actually read any of them. And they were all directed by the same person. Let me get the name. Lee Janik. Not sure if I'm not Janik.
I'll take it.
Sounds right.
She did a great job. And it helped that it was one director, so very consistent in style. I don't want to say too much because it's very quickly to snowball into spoilers. But if you are a fan of horror films, meta horror films, you like a little gore, you like a lot of camp, these are the films for you. The first film is a love letter to the Scream era of films. Mm-hmm. You've got the masked somebody coming at you with a knife. Fear Street Part 2 is a throwback more to summer camp horrors. So Friday the 13th. Yeah, Friday the 13th. I was gonna say Cabin Fever, but no, not Cabin Fever.
No, not Cabin Fever.
Friday the 13th. And then Part 3 is definitely the most avant-garde is not the right word, but it is definitely the one with the most style. And if you were a fan of The Witch, this is this is actually my favorite entry now, Part 3. It's done in that style, and it's got a fantastic cast, a lot of to me new talent. I think the most in the names of the actors that stood out, it was Sadie Sink, who plays Max in the very popular Stranger Things, also on Netflix. But yeah, this is a really great cast. It's fantastically acted. It's diverse too, so you really feel that as if these are real characters. Their choices and their actions make sense in the world that they have established, and the mystery is really good too. I would say if there had to be nitpicks or criticisms, Part 2 is very good, but probably 15 minutes too long. When your franchise is over 330 minutes long, those extra minutes start to add up. They feel like a lot of weight. But I think Netflix did the smart thing by actually releasing them each week rather than all at once, or making this one massive multi-hour experience. And you can watch one of the hour and 45-minute long episodes, films, put it down, think about it, come back the next night and go into Part 2. So I would say definitely a watch. If you are a little worried about how gory they are, there is blood, there is gore, there is guts. It is not a grind fest like Saw or Hostel, but if you are a little squeamish around those type of things, it's there. This is not a PG horror series. This is definitely PG-13, approaching on R. They love their foul language in these films.
Agreed.
So yeah.
I can't believe that Sadie Sink was the big name you gave. I mean, yes, she is a big name.
I guess Maya Hawke.
Okay, Maya Hawke too.
Oh, yeah.
But Gillian Jacobs.
Oh yeah. Except I don't really know what Gillian Jacobs is from.
Community, come on.
Which I haven't watched.
But she's been in everything. She's been in a lot of different things. I'm just going to pull her up now. But let's go through
Hot Tub Time Machine. Haven't seen it. Don't Think Twice. Haven't seen it. She's in Invincible. I've seen that, but she's only a voice actor.
Oh, who does she voice in
I don't know. She's Adam Eve.
Adam Eve, yep.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She was in those Diet Coke commercials about the yurt.
If
you want to live in a yurt, go live in a yurt.
Have you ever been in a yurt? Yurts suck.
I have not been in a yurt. I don't want to be in a yurt, but I'm just pointing it out.
Okay.
That she was the person in that.
I have skimmed her filmography on Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have seen any of the films that she is in.
You need to get on Community. Wow. You just need to do it.
Do I? Because now at this point, it's like how I feel about Hunger Games. Everyone's like, "Oh, you should watch it." I'm like,
how did Hunger Games get mixed into this?
Yeah, exactly. You need Community, not Hunger Games.
Yeah. Well, we can watch it together, Jill. It'll be great.
I've heard of the movie Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Is that the one with Steve Carell?
Yep.
Yeah.
And who's
Keira Knightley, Adam Brody.
Yes. Keira Knightley.
Yeah, we're bringing it back to
Brody.
Brody.
So Jill, with these movies being based on R.L. Stine books, which obviously were intended for children, and like an introductory to the horror genre, at least for me, do you feel like these movies upped the scare level a little bit, or did it match what you had expected from the books?
So keep in mind, I never read the Fear Street series. I did read Goosebumps, like most children, or
Yeah. That, and for me, it was Goosebumps. I didn't read Fear Street either.
I would say that it definitely helps that they are not trying to aim this at a target audience of like tweens. They know that their target audience is 18 and up. They know 17 and 16-year-olds are watching this, but they don't care. Yeah, I think they do a really good job. I think if you are a fan of horror films, you can kind of see where it's gonna go. But there are some good kills. This is not really a jump scare fest.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I can think of to say is that they do try to set the first two parts, 1994 and 1978, clearly are period pieces from the recent past. The last entry, 1666, is, deep period piece. My one other complaint, besides maybe the length, is that 1994 has a lot of anachronisms that really annoyed me.
What do you mean?
A character is using AOL.
Ooh.
In what year was it?
1994.
Yeah, it didn't come out until 96.
And it was like
on
a big
chat
deal
room
too. Like that was a big deal too.
It was an important plot. I don't want to say it's a super important plot point, but it establishes that a character is genre savvy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think computers could do that. And if they could, you could definitely not afford one.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think that way, but yeah, that's definitely that
was
annoys me
just
now.
a little distracting.
Yeah.
And from there, I just couldn't unsee it. And then the really good soundtrack, but also it's songs that came out after 1994.
That bugged me more, but I did like the soundtrack. I did think that was very good.
If the worst thing I can say is that this movie has its own distinct style and just leans right into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Better to have a unique style, even if it might have anachronisms, than no style at all and be very bland.
Yeah. What would you say rating wise then for the entire series?
For the entire series, I would say 4.3 Sarah Fear Hands.
Okay. Let's Sarah Fear Hands.
4.3. That's really high.
Yeah. No, I actually really enjoyed it. It once again, it helped that I could watch it each week rather than all in one go. And it really worked. It helps that these characters are all so likable, and the way that they're utilized makes you care. Even though the same actor might be playing a different character in a different time period. They do their homework. They lay down the groundwork and foundation for why you should care about these characters in one time period. And then they find a way to bring in these connections to make you care about a different character that the same actor might be playing in a different time period. And it still resonates. So
do you need to watch all three to really appreciate it? Or can I just watch the 1666 one because that sounds the most interesting?
That's a really good question. I actually was thinking about could you, depending on when you jumped into 1666, could you just watch it? You should at least see part one. Part two, if it had to be skipped, could be skipped. You will miss out in meeting two characters in particular. But to really appreciate why 1666 hit so hard, you need to see the story in part one.
Gotcha. Good to know.
But part one's really good. So it starts off well. It's not like, oh, all right, episode one was rough. Maybe it'll get better in episode or film two.
And to be honest,
I did enjoy part one.
I'm not going to watch this now because I often hoard horror movies for October. And I feel like this is going to be a weekly viewing experience for me come October. And I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I would totally watch these again in October if Andre wants to.
Okay.
I've been trying to get Claire because I think she would actually like that. She doesn't like horror movies, but I think she would like this.
Yeah, it's they what's the word? They advertise when gore is gonna happen pretty. There's a few oh my, but they do the camera around a room. You can kind of figure out, oh, I think that item's gonna come into play momentarily, or something like that.
That'll bring us to Andre. Andre, tell us about what you have been watching.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a few weeks old at this point, but Jill and I watched Pixar's Luca on Disney Plus. And
look at Mitchell's face in the Zoom call.
It looks so adorable, and I heard it's such a wonderful movie, and I hope that you guys don't dunk on it right now because I'm really looking forward to watching it.
It fucking sucks and I hate it. Pixar sucks.
It is delightful, and I do like the way that it is animated, even though the style does just make me wish it was stop motion animation because it looks like it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like we're saying this with every single Pixar release at this point, but this movie looks impeccable. If they ever do a rerun or like a re-release in theaters, I would love to go see it in theaters because
Me
it just
too.
looks
Nice.
absolutely gorgeous. So real quick, it's just Jill and I that have seen it, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So off the top, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. This is not going to be like a super like earth-shattering film, or like it's not going to be like world-changing or super unique. It doesn't really rank up there for me for like the all-time Pixar greats like WALL-E or Toy Story 3, that kind of echelon. But honestly, this was just such a nice, warm, comforting movie to watch. And I really, really dug it.
Nice.
Just off the bat, it's so I guess high level, the movie is about a group of sea monsters. So the whole conceit is that this takes place in Italy, I think in like out of time, like 1950s, 1960s.
Yeah.
Italy. And there are sea monsters that live near this port side town called Porto Rosso. And the whole concept is that the fish, the port town they're basically sea monsters. Like they're all hunting for them, right? They're all kind of like, that's kind of the culture of, is like, oh, there's reports of sea monsters around, and there's that's the conceit, and all the sea monsters live underneath. They don't interact with humans at all. It's a little bit like Finding Nemo, and that whole like, you stay away from the boats, you don't interact with humans at all. It's kind of a forbidden thing to go to the surface.
I touched the butt.
Right. Yeah. The whole opening 20 minutes is very that. It focuses on our titular character, Luca, who is a sea monster living in a small breezy town underwater. He's kind of he's very curious. He wants to go to the surface, kind of, again, draws a lot of, like, literally it's like Little Mermaid meets Finding Nemo at first. And so I wasn't super engaged at first, but it quickly kind of, as soon as Luca meets his number one compadre Alberto, it gets way more engaging. Alberto is maybe like 1 or 2 years older than Luca, kind of tries to play it off like he's a really worldly guy, knows what he's doing, and he basically gets Luca to crack out of his shell and come to the surface and hang out on their own little deserted island. And it's very charming. It's, if any, like, it's just a really solid friendship story about boyhood and growing up. And yeah, I mean, so basically the main crux of it is that Luca and Alberto dream of one day getting a Vespa to try to ride around and ride into the stars, because they try to make their own makeshift Vespa on their own deserted island. And they're like, well, if we go to Porto Rosso and see like the city of Vespas, we can get our own and we can get off this planet and ride in the sky. And it's all very charming. And I don't know, that's kind of the main point of them going to the port town. And I don't know. I don't want to get too bogged down in the narrative, but it's just this movie. The narrative beats are not super surprising at all. I will say that I appreciate that it does not have the tropey twist villain. As soon as the villain shows up on screen, it's the villain, and you absolutely hate his guts. Ercole, Visconti, everybody's name is just I don't know.
They're also Italian.
Uber Italian, yeah.
Super charming. I mean, so I would say probably about most of the cast is not Italian, so it's kind of interesting to see them try to pronounce their names or whatever. I don't know how authentic it is, but still, it's all very over the top. Julia, the human girl that Alberto and Luca befriend, she's always like exclaiming in different pastas, like, I don't know. It's
like Santa
Rigatoni or something
exactly.
like that. Like I think they go through most of them by the end. And this all sounds cheesy and cheesy and a little bit much, but honestly, just with the way everything looks, especially the water effects, holy moly. So the main thing is that with the sea monsters, Luca and Alberto, as soon as they get wet, as soon as they go outside the water, they turn human, basically, right? They look like normal humans, but if any water gets on them, their scales start showing up again. They look like sea monsters. So the whole tension is them trying to blend in with the human crowd, the human culture, and everything like that. but the effect of water touching their skin and as they're jumping in and out of the ocean, it looks incredible. I just wanted to break it down like frame by frame, and it all looks great.
Nice.
Yeah. It also sounds great. So
Ooh,
I
okay.
love a Pixar soundtrack. This one, well, I liked Soul, but this was probably one of the better scored Pixar films, in my opinion, since Coco and Inside Out.
Okay.
The soundtrack to this film is phenomenal. I listened to it the day after, or a couple days later, and it resonates still. You feel, as Andre was saying, it's a smaller scale story. It's not what if feelings had feelings, what if toys had feelings, it's closer to a Miyazaki film,
what if sea monsters had feelings?
It's not even that though.
Right.
What I was trying to say is it's similar to a smaller scale story in a Miyazaki or a Ghibli story.
This is
Ghibli
absolutely
film.
a love letter to Ghibli
Yes,
films,
and that's
right?
not and that's not an accidental
That's not hidden
connection.
at all.
Yeah, Porto Rosso is
Porto Rosso, come on.
Porco Rosso.
Yeah.
This is a film by Ghibli.
Julia, basically Julia is Kiki from Kiki's Delivery
No,
Service.
she's Tombo.
Well, right, Tombo, right.
She's
Sorry.
wearing his outfit.
Yes, but also just like that, like her entrance though, right? Is just straight out of Kiki, right? Like it's
when she comes zooming down on the bike. Yeah, oh yeah, in the way that she is sitting on it. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, continue on, Joel.
Yes,
yeah, no,
exactly.
It was such a really the great film, but the fact that the soundtrack and the score is so phenomenal pushes it into a whole other tier. This is definitely not the worst Pixar has ever done.
Oh my, no.
by a far more. This is not the Good Dinosaur.
This is not Cars 2.
No, I mean the Good Dinosaur is
Cars
also
2.
not good. It's not it's not Cars 2. It's not even, it's better than Brave,
Right.
It's just
Brave.
a really, really sweet story that I think pretty much anyone can resonate, even if you are not a sea creature or Italian, or if you ever wanted a Vespa.
I know it's hard to look at me and see this, but I really wanted Brave to succeed better than it did.
I thought Brave was going to be great until someone's like, "Oh, you don't know? What? Bears."
You mean Boo from Monsters Inc., who is now
the witch?
Yeah.
The time-traveling Boo.
Does this fit into the Pixar theory in any way?
I have not clicked into it,
I don't know. I'll have
seen...
to rewatch it and see in the background.
Once you've watched the film, Google it. People have already tried to figure out where it falls in the timeline. I think it's supposed to be after Wall-E and Eve rebuilt the world.
God.
What?
Oh. What?
I don't, dude.
If you watch Wall-E at the end of it, you've seen the ending montage.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Where it
Yeah,
does.
that's definitely the future. And if you're saying it's 1950s and this is the future, what?
Right.
Luca,
It's future 1950s.
I think that
timeline.
makes sense because it's before monsters take over, and I can see this as sea monsters kind of being that bridge.
Maybe.
Right.
But the main thing is that the sea monsters don't live off of fear, right? They don't use energy, right?
And now you've got the new Monsters Inc. universe
they're
show
just
where
hanging
it's
out.
laugh energy.
And then here's the thing, I kind of total tangent, but I forgot that I didn't realize that. So like the sea monsters, they just eat fish too, right? So there's a little section where Julia, the human friend, introduces Luca and Alberto to her father, who's a fisherman, right? Oh my gosh, what is her father's name? Massimo. Oh, I love Massimo. Anyways, he's like a very stern, large guy. He has a hook for a hand, and he's supposed to be very intimidating. He's a total softie, though. He's one of my favorite characters in the film.
His cat Machiavelli.
And their cat is named Machiavelli. It's so cute.
Wow. That's funny.
Anyway, so Massimo takes out, he's like, we need fish. He sell, that's his main source of income. And they're like, we need fish in order to save up for the race, in order to try to get the Vespa. So he takes Alberto out swimming, or out fishing rather. And I thought there was gonna be some big moral quandary, be like, oh no, he's going to tell Massimo where all of his friends are, and they're going to kill him. And then Alberto's like, yep, they're right over there. And I'm like, oh, they're treating them like livestock. Got it. Never mind. That was a disconnect on my part, not the movie's fault. But there's a very real moment there where I was like, wow, it's going to get pretty dark.
So the theory that I'm finding and this is not a spoiler, is that because Luca and Alberto are sea monsters, that's the connection to the Monsters Inc. universe. So late after Wall-E rebuilds the world.
Well, I'll have to give it another rewatch in order to see how this fits into the great Pixar canon. But for now, honestly, Luca, I have trouble saying it's like a super landmark movie like some of Pixar's other films are, but it's absolutely a great watch and just a really great feel-good movie, and it's a solid story about boyhood. So nice. On that note, I will give it, I think 3.25 Machiavellis out of 5.
It's such a cute cat. I love Machiavelli cat.
Very, very good cat. There you go.
Has anyone else in the room who's seen Call Me by Your Name?
I have not.
Wait. You mean the Timothy Chalamet and Cannibal Hammer
and Cannibal Guy.
And
Cannibal Hammer?
And Army Hammer, that's right. Just because this movie has drawn a lot of comparisons with it, because of it's set in Italy, it's set in the not too distant past. I guess if we're using our Earth timeline, it being the 1950s, Call Me by Your Name is in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's about, in that case, it was about a romance developing between two male characters. In this case, it sounds like this is a friendship between
this
two
is
male
absolutely
characters.
Yeah. And so Jill and I were kind of having this conversation where looking at the poster and looking at the
it's the trailer. It was the trailer.
Yeah, you definitely can, like, if you watch the trailer for Luca, I could definitely see a narrative where Luca and Alberto are coded to be romantic with, like, in a romantic relationship, I guess. But like, what's up?
So to close on that, but they're just, even though that they themselves are not actually coded to be queer, there is queer undertones to this film, even without the characters actually being queer. Luca is interested in the human world, but told to stay away from it because it's dangerous. So the fear of the unknown. And then when they're up there, they have to not be who they really are because they need to blend in with the humans.
There is actually a lot of language that you could interpret as trans or intersexual, for sure. With that whole, like, hiding yourself and having to conceal yourself and whatever. I don't want to spoil the end of the movie, but definitely when characters talk like that, you can definitely get those tones for sure. But as for, like, the main two characters, I definitely don't get that vibe that they're romantically interested in each other at all.
They don't need to be.
Just and I don't think it needs to be. No, I think it's there is a genuine love between those two characters that's very heartwarming, but it's not a romantic love, I don't think. So
nice.
Gotcha.
That being said, I'm definitely open to a story that's like that. This is, I don't know, this is made by a company that's still not sure. Would they always put out headlines like, "Whoa, like, this is the first gay character in a Pixar movie,"
and it's really like the 8th.
And it's like, okay, they're like, they only show on screen for like 2 seconds or something like that. Well,
there was a hilarious article on the Mary Sue about, not Luca, I can't remember what, maybe it was from Cruella, where it was like, Disney announces its first openly gay character, and the article was saying, like, join the rest of them.
Yeah.
Disney can't seem to keep track.
No, he wasn't openly gay. Yeah, he wasn't openly. That's what it was.
Yeah,
wasn't there a character in On where they said, "Oh yeah, that police officer, she has a girlfriend"?
Yeah. They're really happy to announce when there is a gay character, but it's like, why did you give us a neon sign for something that we would need a magnifying glass?
Yeah, right.
To notice it can't. Why do they have to be defined as they're gay? They're this person and they happen to have a husband.
Yeah,
I agree. I guess that brings it to me.
It does.
Yes.
The big moment.
Yes. Let me hear it.
So we put out a poll, and I'm never going to suggest that again because that did not go well for me at all. You guys voted. You wanted me to talk about the bad movie. Jill and I have an arrangement of, if we lost, it would be the next bad movie. So Jill has picked out for me Bratz, the movie.
Woo!
And we're not talking about the animated Bratz, because they did make some animated movies. They're like hour-long specials, like the Barbie movies that seem to keep getting released and everything like that. This is the live-action Bratz movie.
Talk about it.
Say, Mike, what is your connection to the Bratz?
Yeah,
dolls?
right. Are you a big Bratz head?
Yeah. Did you ever play with one? Did you ever even touch one?
I think I was too old for Bratz. Yeah, like Bratz was like out of our childhood.
Yeah. Bratz was like the weird follow-up to Barbie, right?
Yes. I can admit openly, like, I've played with a Barbie or two before. I never owned them, but I've played with them before.
Sure.
Bratz doll was never on my radar, except for my young cousins had one of them. And I think they all had Sasha, but I'm not sure.
Couldn't even tell you which one that was.
Yeah.
Our 4 characters are Yasmin, Chloe, Sasha, and Jade. Yasmin is Hispanic and is a very good singer, but is also stage fright. Chloe is an excellent soccer player, but is also a klutz. Sasha is wants to be a cheerleader, and her parents are divorced. They made a point of that. And Jade is the Asian girl who has overbearing parents, and all she wants to do is be really smart at science, but also really good at fashion. So if that sounds like any of you, good luck with that.
Sounds like a cheat. The Jade sounds like a cheetah girl character.
A little bit, yeah.
Combined into 2 people.
She's
two
very
people
much,
into one.
yeah. Like, yeah, I would agree with that.
Mike, there's a big name actor in this movie too.
There's a few.
There is. Oh, I will get to it.
There is a gigantic name. Yes.
Yes. Don't worry. I will get to it. And I want to know which one you think is the gigantic actor, because you say there's a few, Jill. There is definitely not a few. There is one big name.
There's 2, maybe 2.
Okay. I definitely know the one. I'm curious who the 2 is.
Well, no, who number 2 is, yeah.
I'm curious who number 2 is as well.
We talked about them.
Okay. Well, I mean, we have John Voight. I'm going to get to John Voight.
Yes.
The Voight in the room.
Voight in the room. Don't worry. I've got notes on all of this. I've got a huge list of notes, so let's just do it.
Let's dive in.
My first note is not a chance any of these girls are in high school. It is that definite trope of like, these are mid-20s girls playing high school characters.
I don't know. 2007, one of the actresses was born in 1992. So how old would they have been in 2007?
They would have been
15.
15, yeah.
So she would have been in high school. All right.
Wow.
But the
That
rest.
was Yasmin.
Yasmin? Okay.
Okay. The one who played Chloe definitely was older than 15. She was born in 1986.
86.
Yeah,
Okay.
though. In her 20s.
And Jade was 88.
Okay. Also
Born in
older.
88.
19.
And then
Sasha was 89. Yes.
So one of them was appropriately aged.
The funny thing is, that's the one I would have guessed was definitely not a high schooler, which is sad for her. So the movie starts with like Yasmin like waking up, and she immediately jumps on the computer to Skype her friends. And you can tell they're 4 besties. They've been friends forever. They will always be friends forever. Everything is bubblegum and candy. They Skype every day to pick out outfits and like show each other what they're wearing, I guess.
Such high maintenance.
Yeah, so that started. Yasmin is Hispanic, like I said before. She like goes to her house, and just to drive home that she's Hispanic, there is a mariachi band in her kitchen. Like a full mariachi band.
As you do.
There's like they have the hats, they have the look, they have the guitars.
Like is that? I'm sorry, I don't like. Is there like? Are they just? That's her family, or they just have a?
They don't address it ever again.
Okay.
There is a mariachi band in her kitchen, and like they're tuning their instruments. That is what it is.
Like is that her origin story? Is that her family's a traveling mariachi band, and that's how she got her musical chops?
A descendant of main character from Coco, whose name I'm blanking on.
Maybe?
Well, that's the opposite of the. Well, I guess.
Well, no,
whatever,
at the end when he learns.
Yeah, you're right. Anyways.
So we also meet Booby.
Bubby.
Booby. No, it is Booby.
It's not pronounced.
Booby.
It is Booby.
Booby.
Who is played by Lainey Kazan, who is also the mother in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
She's number 2, the other slightly famous person.
Yes, she is the slightly famous person. I would not go very famous person. We know who she is, but I mean, she's made a career of the same role.
She's a Jewish actress pretending to be a Hispanic mom.
Yes, and it gets very Hispanic. The font on the opening credits is Comic Sans. I just need to point that out because that's what I just need to point out. Of course, I addressed all the stereotypes. This whole movie is about stereotypes and cliques and whatever. So they get to high school, their first day of high school, and they're like, we're going to be the best of friends. And they do like even like best friends forever and like do like hands in thing before they go in, which annoyed me. They go to head bitch, whose name is Meredith, I believe.
Is that like a prefix, the head bitch?
Head bitch? All my notes say head bitch. I did not bother to learn her name. I'm pretty sure it's Meredith. but it is head bitch. It is Meredith. Yes, that's it. Chelsea Kane, who's been in other things, I think, but it's head bitch. So head bitch has like bragging to her friends about how she has organized all the seating arrangement by clique. So there's the loners, there's the goth kids, there's the who have some overlap, I'm sure. There's the jocks, there's the cheerleaders, there's the smart kids, nerds, and stuff like that. And then we go to John Voight. John Voight is the principal and head bitch's dad. The first thing we see with him is he is reading a book called Prison for Dummies.
What?
Just in case you didn't know that high school is a prison, we've got this ham-fisted just Prison for Dummies book that he is reading.
Maybe he's like reading up on it after his brief time at Camp Green Lake.
No, head bitch gave it to him as a present so that he could follow along with her clique ways.
Ugh, I hate it when kids parent the parent.
Yep.
Also, we got some thunder in my area.
Oh, that's thunder.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can hear that. Yeah, that's thunder.
Okay, yeah,
No
that's
way.
what we're hearing something. Yeah.
Sorry.
My stomach.
So this launches us into a montage showing us how great the four are at their things, but not the four. It's just the three of them. So I want to talk about this montage. There is a terrible CGI science project done by Jade. I'm not going to be able to keep them straight. There's a crazy cheerleading performance by Sasha. And finally, Chloe on the soccer field does a bicycle kick.
Hey, that's cool.
Okay.
Dude, that's tight.
Is that your brat, Mitchell?
Dude.
Is that who you identify with right
Yeah,
now?
That's
Getting
my
some
favorite
Luke Kang
one.
vibes over here. I mean,
Oh, wow. Yes, absolutely.
They also show us in the montage that we know that Yasmin wants to sing, but she doesn't want to put herself through it. So she's just staring into the choir room like, I want to sing.
Baby.
And she accidentally walks into somebody who is a deaf person. We don't learn his name at this time, so I don't have it until farther down the list. But she's like talking to him and he like talks, I'm going to say typical is what I will say. It's not normal, you know, it's typical. So he's not your stereotype deaf person. And she apologizes and he can't understand her because she's not looking at him and he can read lips really well. Yeah. And so he's just like, sorry, I'm deaf, like typical voice and everything like that. And she's like, you don't sound deaf. And he goes, well, you don't look ignorant, but you can't judge a book, right? And walks away. And that is the best line of the entire movie.
Dude, that line goes hard. I love it. Dude, I'm going to use that on someone.
Look
Yeah.
ignorant.
I'm so stealing that line.
Do it.
Oh,
I have
that is
a
amazing.
note of holy damn owned.
Does that line feel out of place in this movie?
Yes, very.
Okay.
Very out of
Because it
place.
definitely does.
Yeah.
And even with this character, like it just feels out of place. You learn more about him, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. I hope he was like practicing in the mirror if that's the character.
Oh, no, I just have images of this actor like staring at the mirror, getting ready.
Yeah.
Cute. Give him a montage.
So basically then it goes to lunchtime and they're all like, okay, we're gonna sit together. And so they go together or whatever. And all of a sudden the cliques are asking for them. The cheerleaders want Sasha to join them. The nerds want Jade to join them. The soccer girls want Chloe to join them. And who's left? Yasmin, our main character pretty much, because she's the one that gets the most time and they want you to feel the worst for. And then it jumps ahead 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
And somehow head bitch is still in high school. I don't know how, because she obviously has some kind of ranking where she's at the top. She's not a freshman too that's already implemented this thing. She's got to be somehow there.
Maybe she failed secretly, and
Maybe.
or she knew that life doesn't get better after high school, and she
Also
she doesn't
maybe.
want to admit her peak.
Right. This movie brings up a talent show, and you just know where it's going to go. They're going to form a band or something to win the talent show, right?
hell yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's spoilers. We'll get to there. But in order to compete in the talent show, you need to post your audition on MySpace.
Oh,
Just shout out to
outdated
MySpace.
technology. Well, tech
Wow.
alert.
I think that's outdated even for 2007.
7.
Is this when this came out?
Yep.
Yeah. like even Facebook was definitely the thing. So
Yep. So we also learned the deaf kid wants to learn music. So there's an awfully awkward like DJ thing with the music teacher where it teaches him to like feel the beat on the speaker and then he can like DJ while he's feeling it. And it's just super awkward and like uncomfortable.
Is that not how sound vibrations work?
Oh my
You know what? I've never been deaf, so I can't really tell you.
Because isn't that like, did you ever see the movie Mr. Holland's Opus? Because isn't his son deaf? And, you know, the whole thing is that his character, John C. It's something Macy.
What are we talking about?
William H.
Macy in Mr. Holland's Opus. He's like a musician. He's either a musical teacher or something like that. But his son is deaf and he can't connect with him. And then they have a breakthrough. And I thought it was like the son could feel the vibrations of the music.
You're way beyond me on this. Okay. I have no clue.
Okay. I don't know. It sounds kind of too Daredevil-y to me, but I don't even know.
Well, our four heroines get into a bit of an argument with each other because Chloe is a klutz and is talking to head bitch's ex-boyfriend, or no, boyfriend at this point. So Chloe is like awkwardly together with the boyfriend, but not really. Head bitch sends her dog, who is just on campus, to go like attack her and make her trip. She drops spaghetti on Yasmin, who then like falls on a skateboard to send spaghetti onto Sasha, who gets really mad and throws it at Yasmin, but ends up hitting Jade. And of course, it starts a food fight because, you know, that's what it does. And why do all of them have spaghetti? That's what I want to know.
It was spaghetti day in the cafeteria.
You got a carbo load. They're getting ready for a long run the next day. I think that's what you got to do.
No, they're growing girls.
They're growing girls, Mike. Like, and you ever think about that? They're growing brats.
I also want to know, so when she slips on the skateboard, there's a Wilhelm scream.
Oh, that's great.
Really?
Yes. Like out of nowhere, just they accidentally knock over the principal's statue. He puts them in detention. They save friendship a few times, trying to figure out why they can't basically be friends again.
Somebody threw spaghetti at somebody else.
Well, and they kind of like figure it out in detention. They're like, okay, we're gonna break the system. We're gonna break the cliques. Blah blah blah. I have some notes. They still are covered in food. Nobody let them clean off or get new clothes or anything like that. They call each other bimbettes, which is a great term. Bimbettes.
Okay.
That was right over the house.
Is this PG?
I'm pretty sure it's gotta be. It's not G.
It's not G. Is it?
I was gonna say it's a little spicy.
I mean, it could be.
Spicy.
What does IMDb say it is?
I don't know. I'm pulling it up. It's PG. PG. Ooh. An hour and 50 minutes of my life has gone to this movie.
Well, that's not too bad. Good for them. Get in, get out. We're good.
Yeah.
They create Operation Mingle, which is to get everybody to mingle with each other.
It sounds like a dating app, to be fair, honest.
Yeah, that's true. There's a part where Bobby and Yasmin are singing in the room because they're happy they're friends again. And they're singing La Cucaracha.
Wait, isn't Bubby and Yasmin mother and daughter?
Yes.
So they were not friends. Did they not become friends, or were the Bratz not friends?
That the Bratz were not friends. They spent 2 years not talking to each other and realized they're not friends anymore. And then after this detention, they figured out Operation Mingle, and now they're celebrating and singing La Cucaracha together.
Because it's royalty free. That's why.
Maybe. Yeah, that's
the real reason.
Yasmin's brother records it. This comes back later. Don't worry. Okay, I had a note about Cameron is the head bitch's boyfriend. He is ugly in this movie, like really ugly. But IMDb, he got hot, real hot.
He long bottomed.
Yes, he long bottomed hard.
Wait, what's the guy's name?
Cameron is the character.
Stephen Ford.
Stephen Ford, yes.
Stephen Ford, okay.
Yes, Stephen Ford.
I want to take a look.
Yes, I will post a picture on our
Instagram. Oh, he's in Teen Wolf. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Hey, Mike.
Being Teen Wolf, come on now.
IMDb suggests, if you liked this movie, to watch Baby Geniuses, the TV series.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm very good.
That's great.
What else happened? Okay, so Yasmin's younger brother basically goes over to Head Bitch's house because he has a crush on Head Bitch's sister, Cherish. Cherish.
That is
yes.
a horrible name.
Yes, Cherish. So he goes over and basically Head Bitch realizes he has something on his phone. So she starts like pretend flirting with him. She's in the middle of a pool and wants him to come over to like show her this video. He walks in a leather jacket into the pool and like shows the phone to her of them doing La Cucaracha. She has a flash drive with blackmail on everybody, and this is how she's gained control. We just learned about this flash drive. I don't think she understands how a flash drive works. Because she's just
2007. I don't know. Do people know how flash drives work by 2007?
Yes.
not because of that, but because he has a phone. She has a flash drive.
Oh no.
And she wants to get the video on the flash drive. How?
Just gonna upload it.
You need a computer?
Yeah. You need a computer, a couple cable, you know.
He's also in the middle of a pool. This is a bad idea because like that phone's not waterproof.
I don't know how this works. I don't at all.
I feel like that Game Boy cable is going to be in play here.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like
this.
the old like
Yeah.
multiplayer cable, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, how old is is Yasmin's brother? And
We
how
don't
old?
know. He's not in high school. That's what we know.
Ew! And she's flirting with him.
No, she's using him.
I know she's using him, but she's still flirting with like a
I mean,
pubescent person.
I guess. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if this was on the flash drive, she'd be busted.
Oh,
She would be one of the people in that episode of Black Mirror, Shut Up and Dance, where it's like you have to do horrible things, and we find out what the dude actually did.
Yeah.
That was a gut punch of an episode. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, now we flash forward. So Head Bitch wants to throw herself another Super Sweet 16 to get on MTV.
She's 17.
Well, no, she is 16, but like she had a party like a month ago.
Oh.
And so she wants another one to be like, all right, I'm still the popular bitch. The line, can't go to the party, I have nothing to wear occurs. And we go shopping for like the fourth time in this movie. And it makes me wonder, I know nothing about Bratz. Do they exist only to force little girls to believe that they need to buy everything or go to the mall or whatever?
They're like, so don't quote me anybody on this because I don't know the actual history of why Bratz were a thing. But in like the early aughts, mid-aughts, Barbie came out with a line called the My Scene line. And it was like aimed at go-getting early 2000, mid-2000, like teens, young women. And they were very like fashionable. And I think Bratz was like, oh, okay, we see what you're doing there. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do more like streetwear, street fashion, high street fashion. Okay. So like they were definitely a fashion forward doll. Mm-hmm. So clothing was a big deal.
Okay. Well, yeah, they bring it up a lot. So I figured that's what it was.
It's a girl movie. Of course they're going to go shopping.
I don't remember exactly what happens in this, but we learned that the deaf kid's name is Dylan. And the only note I have is Yasmin's kind of a dick to Dylan. So I don't know what she did. And this is, so at the Sweet 16 party, we learn why she can no longer sing in front of people, why she gets stage fright. She can't sing in front of people because in kindergarten, she threw up while singing.
Ew. In kindergarten?
In kindergarten.
She just let that go.
Those are formative years, though, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
that could scar you.
So in 5th grade, I was in church choir, and I locked my knees and passed out in front of people.
Wow.
This was still in choir all of junior high and all of high school and 2 years of college.
Good for you, man.
Axl Rose? Oh, wait. Oh, we're talking about you. Yes, you, Mike.
Well, congratulations for coming over, for hurdling your trauma.
I'm just saying, I don't think that should have been that formative at kindergarten.
Oh, true enough. But I don't know, man. Throwing up, that sounds like that sounds like
gross.
A lot for this young woman right there. That's no good. Do we see the vomit? Like, again,
no, we do not see anything. It's a told story. It is
Oh,
not a
got it.
flashback story. It is a told story.
So they're telling, not showing. Great. That's a
Yes.
hallmark of a great film.
Yes, you have a screen in front of you. Why would you want to see that?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Don't
bodily
people like to
fluids.
watch people throw up? Like, isn't that like how Jackass got famous or something?
Yeah, that's a whole YouTube genre now. Absolutely.
I don't want to watch people throw up. I like people getting hurt. Like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
my
true, too.
favorite part of Jackass.
I can't wait for Jackass 4, by the way. That will be a future movie on this podcast.
That
Yes, it
reminds
will.
me,
Oh,
if you like
100%.
Jackass, I should forward you a really great article about Johnny Knoxville and like
Yes.
him
Oh,
looking back on his
please.
career.
Jackass 3, we went to
Please.
the midnight showing, so I am all on board for this. Like, yeah, it's happening.
Well, that was perfect for us, Mike. That was college for us. That was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
right in our
great.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Super Sweet 16 party, we learned that Chloe's mom is a caterer. She's not feeling well. And so the girls, of course, offer to help. And then, of course, the people can't make it to the catering event. So the girls, again, help. Meredith's just being a bitch because she wants to be a bitch. So she makes them wear clown outfits. Fast forward 30 seconds later, and they have made it their own, and it's fashion clown forward. And they're like having a great time and blah, blah, blah. And my question for this whole movie comes to one point. There's a lot that I cared about in this movie. One of the things I cared about was, does John Voight remember any of his lines?
Why do you say that?
Because his character, every single thing is, why are you being mean to these girls, sweetie? Shouldn't they be your friends?
He's literally saying,
He literally says, like before each line, or at least one of them.
Maybe he wanted to try his hand at being Christopher Walken.
He's not
Oh, that's
Christopher
funny.
Walken. He's terrible.
There's
and then-
I was just gonna say that is something that Spike Lee had done in She's Gotta Have It as Mars Blackman. And the reason why his character stutters in it is because he was trying to remember his lines as he was speaking. So he would repeat the first word of the line over and over again. That became a quirk, but it was actually him trying to remember his lines. John Voight, who's an Oscar-winning actor, I believe, or at least nominated.
Definitely
This is
nominated,
great.
but winning? I don't know.
Definitely cash that check, homie. I don't know how much
He won
gave
for
you to do
best.
this.
He won for best in a leading role.
Okay, great for him. But anyway, that is insane to me that is the case.
Yes, it is really bad. I mean, like, it's an obvious cash grab situation. He did not try at all. Also, one of my favorite stories of forgetting the line is still about Zoolander, where do you know the why male models thing?
Yeah.
So do you know the story behind it though?
No, not the story. No.
Oh, so like he says the line, but why male models?
Right.
And like they go through the whole thing and blah, 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 and whatever. He forgot the line and just went back like they would go back to the beginning or try again. And so he goes, but why male models? And they left it in. And they left it in because it was better for the character.
It was so funny. It's just a great laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. Can we talk about that movie? Anyway, keep
No, we
going.
can't.
I haven't
we
rewatched the
can
original
talk about Zoolander 2, it
Zoolander
sounds like. That
in
could be
so
We already did.
long.
We already
did,
talked
that's
about
right.
Zoolander 2.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh,
All right.
holy
So
Keep going.
she has a circus themed birthday. She ends up getting knocked into the pool because of the girl's fault.
This is Meredith.
This is
slash
the head
head
bitch. Yes. Head bitch gets knocked into the pool. And she says the line that is the ultimate roll credits. She goes, you Bratz.
Oh,
Wow.
hey,
There
roll
it is.
credits. Roll credits.
Put that up there with Christopher Walken in Country Bears. It's not over yet.
what a-
Bears.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So
That's
you
it,
Bratz. And then so basically we flash forward to
You said flash forward a lot.
yes. Oh, they don't care to explain anything. They're done with this scene, so they just move to the next scene.
And with
The next
scene,
scene-
move on now.
The next scene they've realized they need to compete in the talent show because Chloe is desperate. She lives with a single mother and she's not going to be able to go to college. So they need to win a talent show because the winners get a scholarship and they're going to give it to Chloe. And so they decide that they're going to form a band, and they're going to force Yasmin to sing because she has the best voice.
Supposedly.
And what do you think the band name is?
Bratz
The
with
Big
Z.
Bets.
Bratz with a Z.
Yeah.
Because Chloe walks.
Oh.
They're trying to find a name for their band, and Chloe walks up while they're discussing and goes, "What's up, Bratz?"
Mm-hmm.
Bratz.
As women do.
Bratz. Oh my God. Blah 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 blah.
Yes.
Meredith is blackmailing, or head bitch is blackmailing Chloe because when her mom worked for her, things disappeared. And she's telling this to Yasmin. So Yasmin basically pulls out of the talent show. There's another MySpace reference. I don't remember what it is, but I just wanted to make sure that we know there's two of them.
I wonder if Tom had a guest spot in this.
Oh, I know. What happened to Tom? Where's my boy?
I also wanted to be known this movie could have ended 4 times already.
So it's the Return of King, the Return of the King of
Return of Kings.
Return of
Yes.
Kings.
The Return of King.
Yes. Of,
That's the Tommy Wiseau version of
Yes.
Return of the King.
Um,
Oh, that'd be hilarious. The fellowship's all Tommy.
oh my God.
Hey, you have my axe and my bow.
I can't carry you. I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you, Mark.
That's it. We
What
need to make
just
this happen.
happened?
I would give up my
You're
life
tearing me
savings
apart,
to
Sarah.
film this movie. Oh my God.
You
should do it.
shall not pass.
He wouldn't know how to do. Like, I feel like when it came to Gollum or Schmeagol, it was just
Oh my God, Tommy was
Just
so
don't,
Gollum.
don't
please.
tell him you're recording and
Yeah.
just have him exist in the universe, and that's
He's-
Gollum.
he's still gonna wear all the chains and whatnot. Cause chains all rings, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. We got our next project. Give Tommy Wiseau $500,000 to make his Lord of the Rings trilogy. Perfect.
Let's do it.
Lord of the Wiseaus.
Yes.
We've got Vampire Boys 3 and Lord of the Wiseaus.
I would move ahead the Wiseau's idea ahead of Vampire Boys.
I would
3.
move too. I feel like he's already thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we have another logo for the shop that's coming eventually.
Hey.
All these fake movies we're making.
Dude, this one I want to be real.
Yeah, I did
too.
I'm getting Tommy on the phone right now. If we have his agent, or he's probably his own agent, let's be real. Let's
Yeah,
go
right.
ahead and get this thing made.
I think we could find Tommy Wiseau's number somewhere in the universe and get him on the phone.
Guys, I don't see why we just don't do our own fan film of all of us being Tommy Wiseau
Oh my
and
God.
doing it.
Easy,
Yes.
because none of us can do as good an accent as Andre, and then we all look bad.
Why don't
by
we just have
comparison.
Andre do it all?
Oh,
We're
yeah,
just,
that's a
Make
lot.
Andre do it all. Yes,
Oh.
this is how we do it.
I
we'll
think
just-
just
gonna
do
contact my
pivotal
agent.
scenes.
Yeah,
We'll just do
contact
pivotal
your agent.
scenes.
Contact your agent, Andre. We'll hammer out the details.
Putting
Don't
a lot
worry.
of onus on me to carry this performance, man. Holy moly.
Well, just think about it this way. You will deliver at least nine really great performances. That's just the core fellowship. Then we got to include Elrond, Galadriel, Sauron, Saruman. You gotta be the Thranduil so you can say it was real. So we're gonna do some Hobbit stuff. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Finish this Brad stock.
Let's
so
get
we
back to
can
Let's,
get free
let's
production.
finish this movie. How did we get so off the rails? So basically, Yasmin's out because she feels like they would blackmail. They would get blackmailed and they'd all be embarrassed. Scene later. Hey, who cares if she's blackmailing us? We've got a talent show to win.
He recovered quickly.
Right
Yep.
on. Right on.
They made a huge deal. I also I wanted to point out as well, every time head bitch opens the flash drive, it made a computer beep. Like a boop.
Wait, she did that herself?
No.
Like,
Like,
okay. I thought,
like a sound happened every time she opened the flash drive, so they don't know how flash drives work.
oh, gotcha. Well, you have to know that the technology is being used. I mean, how else could you
I don't know. You got
Right.
it in the right
determine
way.
that?
Well, so basically she opens the flash drive, puts it out on the screen, and all their stuff gets blackmailed out there and blah, blah, blah. And they defend themselves in the middle of the talent show, just like, well, I did this because this and this. And like, my mom didn't steal from you, you bitch, you did, and blah blah blah, and whatever, and like it just everything's okay. The divorced parents get back together during the middle of this jaunty tune that happens, which is called Bratitude, is the name of the song.
Was it catchy?
No,
Yeah,
and
how
it was
dope
definitely
is it?
lip synced.
Oh, don't do that.
Definitely lip synced.
Don't do that.
Yeah, the divorced parents somehow get together. They made a huge deal of Deaf Dylan being able to DJ, but there definitely wasn't a single part of this song that was DJ'd. Like,
Okay.
none of it.
Oh.
And so, like, it was just not a big deal. It just dropped. Obviously, DJ Dylan / DJ Deaf Dylan loved Yasmin, so they get together. Chloe and Cameron being the boyfriend of Head Bitch, they get together.
Were they like setting that up that they were like into each other? Or is it
Yes,
just like
they were setting each other.
Okay.
They were setting it up the whole time. But what they were not setting up was Jade gets together with her head science partner because they're nerds and cute. And then Sasha's just happy because her parents got together again.
she doesn't get a boyfriend?
She does not get a boyfriend. Also, I forgot to bring this up. The head cheerleader of Sasha's cheer squad wears a tiara the entire movie.
A tiara.
A tiara.
Yeah, I went to
I don't
college
know
with
why.
a dude who wore cat ears every day just because he could. So why not?
Yep. I have 3 more notes for this.
Keep going.
How much did John Voight get paid for this? Because it must have been a lot because he had to say yes because he did not have a good time the entire time.
He didn't look like he was having a fun
You don't
time.
think
He
he,
was
did
not
it for the
having fun.
Maybe he did the movie for the grandkids.
Maybe,
That's what I'm
but I
thinking,
doubt
too.
it.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't know.
What else do I got? So the deciding factor, so the deciding vote, the talent show winner gets, I can't remember what the first thing was, but the second thing was the scholarship, and that was the important thing. They tie.
What?
Head bitch gets whatever the first prize was that I can't remember, and the Bratz get the scholarship. So Chloe can go to college and everything's okay.
Hey.
Right? That's what we wanted.
That's
But
what they
college
said we
isn't going to
wanted.
be important for these girls because it just so happens the president of MTV was at this high school talent show
Oh,
and
United
wants to
States.
offer them a contract.
Of course.
Spare me. That's awful.
Yep.
Oh, they're gonna be on Brett. What was not Flavor of Love? The other one.
Flavor of Love.
No,
No,
they're getting a
Brett-
contract
the
as a
Brett thing.
band.
Wait, MTV does bands?
Oh,
I thought they
yeah,
did dating shows.
No, they did making the band with P. Diddy. Absolutely.
Well,
Which for me was made into an icon because of Dave Chappelle.
I know it's hard to believe, Jill, but MTV stands for music television. They do have recording artists.
They used to.
They used to.
He used to.
2007 at least. Maybe.
RIP to those days. TRL,
Yeah.
what's up?
Yeah, right. So yeah, they got a recording contract. So the Bratz can now be an album somewhere somehow, and definitely lip synced.
Oh, they really are like the Cheetah Girls.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mike, you're so in on this movie.
That
I'm
is
so
Bratz the
happy
movie.
for you.
I bet you're
I'm-
gonna name your future daughter Yasmin or
Ooh.
another one.
Another one of them.
of
Or
all of
one
them,
the others.
of all of them, I would say
Give
the
her
most,
4 first names.
the
2
most
first names, 2
realistic.
middle names.
The most realistic of them all is probably Jade. So that would probably be if I were to name my daughter after any of them, which is still a 0 chance possibility. It would probably be Jade.
Okay.
But and I also want to say how this is my third and final note. This entire movie was about fashion. They never look good.
Wow.
They never look fashionable.
Whoa.
in my mind.
Well, okay. Keep in
Shots
mind
fired.
that this is 2007, right? I mean, fashion surely is way different now than it was back then, right?
For high school girls, no.
Yes. I mean, was anybody wearing like a skinny scarf and
No,
too many
it
belts?
There was maybe too many belts. I don't remember that exactly. None of them looked fashionable in my idea of fashion. And I'm not a high fashion person, as I say, sitting in gym shorts and a t-shirt. Like it's not me sitting here going, oh yeah, I am
mean,
definitely the
this
most
movie-
fashionable person.
this movie's only. Would you say this movie's trying to lean into the Mean Girls?
Yes, 100%. I mean, the started with the fact that there's clicks for everything.
Yeah.
You know, we had the plastics. These were definitely like the head bitch was leader of the plastics. So, you know, it's trying to be Mean Girls. It fails miserably. I'm going to show you guys a picture on my phone here while on the camera. And you tell me, is this hot fashion? If you can see.
I mean, I like the skirt and belt look on the one on the far right.
Oh, that's totally of the era.
Yeah,
totally
right.
of the era.
It is of the era.
Yeah? All right.
I'm looking at like the I guess the movie, the cover that would be on the VHS. The
So
DVD.
that's Jade. That was the fashionable one.
You know, she's doing her job.
I don't know.
I'm seeing some capri pants.
What I also didn't get is like they were dressing for like 3 different temperatures. Chloe was always wearing long sleeves and jeans. The rest of them were wearing like some kind of shorts, and Yasmin always had a jacket.
Maybe Yasmin runs cold, you know? We don't know.
I guess. But
I mean, all
still,
that air conditioning?
it's California, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
But all that AC. They have AC in California.
I mean, it's
Dude,
all
we sure
sun
do.
all the time. Like
We sure do.
every shot is just bright sunshine, like trying to make you feel good and everything.
Don't you know it doesn't rain in California either?
Mm-hmm. Well, we need the rain. That's the unfortunate
I've been
part.
told
Right.
that.
We desperately need it.
Yep.
All right, so I guess I'll give it a final rating. I'm gonna probably, give it a 0.25 out of 5.
0.25.
Yes. Music teacher inspirational speeches.
Not montages. I feel like there was a lot of montages.
There was a lot of montages. You know what? Sure. 0.25 montages out of 5. It was, no. They made a movie, but I can't give it the Mitchell 0 because they made it half-assed movie.
Wow.
They got John Voight.
Yep. I think that alone, like the casting department deserves some kind of award for somehow wrangling him into this.
Right.
Like
How did
that's
they get
no
John
small
Voight
feat.
this?
They must have had some blackmail on this dude. And they're like,
They had a flash drive. They had a
flash
Get a flash
drive.
drive.
They had a flash drive and there's some bad stuff on there. So they're like, hey, we're going to release this unless you do our shitty movie. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did.
It's a flash drive
but-
connected to a phone.
I just did a Fellowship of Ring poster art for us. If we do want to go ahead and market this
love
movie,
the Fellowship of Ring. Oh, wow. That's very good.
We're gonna need a lot of different Tommy Wiseaus.
I love it.
we need it.
I
my
need this in my
God.
life.
Yes.
All right, well, we'll make that a thing. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna give a shout out to our friend in the hashtag the Illumipati that got the clues right for watching the Bratz movie. I posted 3 clues. If you want your promo in the show, try to guess ahead what our bad movie is. This is Rippin' on the Rock. It is a rock and lull podcast. Their first season was all about the music of Kid Rock and Rippin' on the Rock. There you go. And their second season that they're currently doing is all about new metal. It is hysterical. It is a fun time. Definitely check them out. Here's the promo for Rippin' on the Rock.
What's up, rap rockers, showstoppers, dreadlockers? Babyface Memphis Reigns here to tell you about Rippin' on the Rocks, brand spanking new series, Dreaded New Metal. Yes! As the name suggests, we'll be tackling all your favorite 90s and early 2000s new metal bands where at least one of the members had dreads. Remember how that was a thing? Yeah! Time to bring it back.
Seriously?
In this new 9-part series, you'll be hearing us make fun of some of the greats. Rage Against the Machine, a.k.a. Radom, a.k.a. Rage, a.k.a. Reggae Against the Bordello of Murillo. Spray on a farmer tan because we're shucking that Bakersfield bumper crop. Corn, da boom doctor. Sharpen your finest shovel because we're digging all the ditches with Robert Zombie. We'll also cover some of the not-so-greats. Get your GED with Head PE, Higher Education Planet Earth, whatever that means. Abandon all hope on a rope when we just say yes to Dope, the band. And check check those gag reflexes for saliva. Ew.
Oh no.
Getting excited yet? Prove it. You damn well better be. We're gonna make you laugh till you have a coughing fit and people have to ask if you are okay. Dreaded New Metal debuts June 9th. Sleaze Louise, that's next hickin' week. So what do you say, brother? Join me, Eleanor-obsessed Memphis Reigns, the very literate John Milton, and Cyrus the Virus's worst nightmare, Cameron Poe, on June 9th for Dreaded New Metal. We'll be waiting.
Check us out on rotrpodcast.com. That's rotrpodcast.com.
I'm ripping on the road. I'm walking low podcast. Ripping on the road. I'm walking low podcast.
That was the promo for Rippin' on the Rock. We appreciate them entirely for guessing our movie. It brings us to our segment, hashtag Cash or Trash. Mitchell, you're the one that's starting us off, and it seems like you're going somewhere. So hopefully you can still talk while going somewhere.
Yeah, because I'm picking this up because this isn't your typical cash or trash, which we typically have done for streaming shows or movies. And we just give a yes or no. Okay. This one is actually a little book of mine that I want to give a cash or trash to.
Oh,
and it's because it is based on a movie. It is written by, what's his name? Quentin Tarantino? Anyway.
Right. Very niche guy. I've
very niche guy, very in his own element. And I don't know if any of you guys have heard of him, but he did make a little movie that I absolutely adored 2 years ago called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And most recently, a couple weeks ago, he released a paperback novel of the movie. And there is a lot more to explore in this universe. A lot of people thought that how the movie played out, they're like, wow, this would have been a great miniseries or a great TV show because of how long you spend time with the characters and how disinterested with plot that the movie seems to be. And this is exactly what those people ordered, I think, because it explores the characters a lot more. You have more of a backstory of how they got there. And also the narrator for this offers some insight to where these characters end up going after the events of the movie. Which is really cool. It's very atmospheric. So if you dug the vibes of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think this is a book for you. It's a very breezy read. I'm about, it's a 400-page book. I'm at page 241. I'm a slow reader, but this was done in like 3 sittings. So for me, it's just like very easy to read. You already know the characters going into it. And it's just living inside of Tarantino's head for just a few more hours. And it's been great so far. So cash for this.
Nice. I like that the cover looks like a book that would have been written in the 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, so that was his pitch to the publishing company, was that he didn't want a hardback, and they are going to release one later, but he wanted the initial print to be a paperback novelization of the movie because that's what he grew up reading. Those were the first books that he read were novelizations of whatever movies he saw in the 70s. And that was that used to be a really big thing, even for us as kids.
Novelizations, yes.
Yeah.
I read The Lost World, man.
There you go. There you go.
And wait, the actual Lost World or the novelization of the movie?
No, the actual Lost World before, I guess. Oh, well, all right. So not novelization, I guess. But no, he did. Now I may be backing up. I thought he did something before, and then he did one based on the story to include more like a novelization of the movie.
Are you talking Michael Crichton? When he read? Okay.
So maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Well, I used to read novelizations all the time. So there we go.
Well, this is wonderful. And if you were really into character and how that is written, there's just lovely chapters dedicated to the main stars. You're first introduced to Sharon Tate, not with her landing in LAX after filming a movie. It's with her actually hitchhiking from Texas to get to Hollywood back when she was just starting as an actress. So really cool stuff in here.
Nice. Mitchell, I just learned you can read.
I know. It's amazing, right?
Dude, congrats.
Congrats, man. I just learned.
Jill, what do you got for cash or trash?
I mean, it's a little outdated now, and I talked about it on Twitter, but Clarkson's Farm, Jeremy Clarkson's Amazon Prime show, where he already owned the farm, but he owns a massive ass farm in rural England. And the whole crux of the show is his original farmer who took care of the land has retired. So he's like, why not? I'll do it. And what was really interesting is that it was filmed mostly in 2019 into 2020. So the first like 4 or 5 episodes, things are going as normal, but of course it's not normal because Jeremy Clarkson's involved. And then there's a whole episode where the pandemic sweeps through, but because they're considered an essential industry, they're allowed to keep going, but the lockdowns are going through, and it was just really interesting watching this play out, not in real time, but there's no artificiality behind it. Okay. They are genuinely reacting to the uncertainty of the pandemic when things were first coming out. If you like Jeremy Clarkson, if you're a fan of Top Gear from the Hammond, May, and Clarkson edition of that, or the Grand Tour, you're going to really enjoy this. So I'm going to say cash.
Nice. Andre?
All right. I am also really, really stretching the limits of the definition of cash or trash here. But last week, I watched a whole lot of speed runs on Summer Games Done Quick 2021 on Twitch. And so to catch you guys up, Games Done Quick, it's a Twitch channel. They run events basically every 6 months, right? And it's like the Olympics of speedrunning, basically. But the catch is that all of the basically it's all for charity. So I believe let me look at the numbers. So basically it's a week long where streamers from various gaming communities come and stream a certain category for their specified video game. And it's 1 week straight of just going from game to game to game. And they'll have incentives where you can donate to, where like, for example, I think for the Super Mario 60 or for the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time speed run, you could donate to pick a certain file name or pick a certain character with this run. And they raised $2.9 million for Doctors Without Borders.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun watch. This Twitch channel, the Games Done Quick, it's still active right now. They just stream one-off games and highlighting various members of the community. Very positive, very welcoming community. Like, it's speedrunning in and of itself is this whole entire subculture that I just love looking into from the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. I play lots of games. I play them way too casually to ever get at that skill level, but there's just something to be said of watching a man play Super Mario 64, getting 70 stars to beat the game, all while wearing a blindfold.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, and there was just so many hype moments. It's a really well done production. This has been going on for about, I think, almost 10 years now. And
nice.
It started as this really small thing, and now they've kind of really have a really lean production going, where they have really solid commentators to explain to everybody like how exactly tricks are, like when people are basically breaking a game in half. They do a really good job of explaining, here's how insane this trick is, here's how much effort goes into this, and here's why this is really, really cool. So it's so easy to just jump into the narrative and kind of really root for the streamers to get to the end of the game as quickly as possible.
Nice.
Highly recommend it. All the VODs are on YouTube, but the next event would be all the way from in January 2022. But really, really fun watch, and it's for a great cause. And yeah, just really thankful for Games Done Quick.
Fantastic. So I take that as a cash.
That is a definite cash. It's a donation, I guess, really, right?
Yeah, there you go.
It's a donation. I like that.
Well, as I said earlier in this episode, I watched Fear Street 1994 Part 1 yesterday. Yesterday, I was working from home, so I actually got 2 movies in. There's a brand new movie that just came out with Karen Gillan called Gunpowder Milkshake.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
It is, I think I'm doing a disservice by calling it the female John Wick, but you can tell how they take stuff from that. It is very well shot. There's a lot of cool, scenery and then it's very choreographed. The choreography of the fights are very well done. So I think it's an insult to call it the female John Wick because it's its own thing. It's very well done. Interesting story. You kind of know where it's going. It's not unpredictable, but overall it was really a lot of fun. If you want a good action movie to kill a couple hours, you turn your brain off. Like, it is just a lot of fun. Karen Gillan's excellent. The cast is phenomenal. Yeah, it's very well done. So I will say that Gunpowder Milkshake is cash.
Nice.
Also, in the first 5 minutes, 4 milkshakes for drink.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
a lot of milkshakes.
that's a lot of milkshakes. If you're wondering where the milkshake comes in, that's where it is. And then obviously lots of gunpowder.
Yes.
That'll do it then, I guess, for episode 35 of Game for a Movie, guys.
Ooh, we did
35.
it.
35. Wow. I know.
When is this podcast going to hit its midlife crisis? I feel like it's heading there.
I mean, we
Yeah.
did just make Mike watch a movie for.
Oh, I've got one that I'm going to make somebody watch eventually. Because a certain movie was on television earlier today that Claire turned on that I forgot existed because I tried to block it out of my head. And I think I want either Mitchell or Andre to watch it because it kills a certain actor.
It's not Indiana Jones.
It is not Indiana Jones. No.
Damn. Okay.
No,
good.
it is not. It is not Crystal Skull. I know that one exists, even though I pretend it doesn't.
Oh, it's Avatar then.
Nope.
The Avatar?
The Avatar.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, we still do want to make Andre watch
I want my
Avatar.
bingo. I want to watch that with y'all
Wow.
and drink things.
Episode 45.
I want to do too. That I want to
Episode
do.
45.
All
10
right.
episodes from now, we will all do it together. Hey, it doesn't actually have to be 10 episodes from now. We've been sticking to the 15s. If we want to do it, we can do it whenever.
Cool.
Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you, Jill, for our first Game for a Movie trailer.
Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, if you haven't checked that out, it is on our YouTube channel, which is at Game for a Movie. It is on anywhere you get podcasts for the audio version. The video version, she watched the trailer along, so you can also watch the trailer while she does. The audio version, I got rid of the watch just because it doesn't do much if you can't watch the trailer. But yeah, we're going to be doing more like that, where a single host takes over and talks about a trailer that they either care about, don't care about. I'm going to do one shortly about a certain kids movie. That is your preview for that.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you very much, Joe, for that. If you want to reach us, Game for a Movie on Facebook, Game for a Movie P1 on Twitter, Game for a Movie podcast on Instagram, I'm pretty sure. It may just be Game for a Movie. I don't remember off the top of my head. That's it. I've been your host, Mike B. Tank. I have been joined by, in the same order,
Mitchell.
Jill.
Andre.
Thank you guys very much for listening. We'll see you next time on Game for a Movie, where we ask, are you game for a movie?
Yeah, I think I'm game. Yeah.
Would you speed run it, Andre?
Oh man, yeah. Let's do game for a movie. Any percent blindfolded. Let's go.
Blindfold. You don't have to be seeing to be able to do this part. I feel like you can't do it with a ball gag though.
Now, guys, I had a blindfold on this
gag.
whole movie, but I
Whoa.
gotta say that the visual effects were not up to par. That's all I'm gonna say.